Ole Miss linebacker Chance Campbell, kind enough to join us as he always does on Mondays here with MPW Digital. His appearance is brought to you by The Rogue 4450 I-55 North in Jackson, or therogue.com. Chance has on some of the brand new college gear that just arrived at The Rogue. I think it got there like on Friday. Got some of it got to me on Monday. Chance was kind enough to meet up with me so I could get that to him today, and you see him sporting some of it now. Looks really good. All of that at 4450 I-55 North in Jackson, or at therogue.com. Chance, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good. It's a Monday after your first loss of the season, your first SEC game of your career. I guess we'll just start with the kind of the experience of Tuscaloosa and all of that. Was it about kind of what you had expected in your mind's eye in terms of the crowd and the atmosphere and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think wasn't anything too crazy. I mean, it's a big deal there. So there's a lot of stuff that comes with a big game, and then it comes with a team when they're number one in the country, and then a team when they're like Alabama and as storied as they are. So there's like a lot of theatrics. You have the people lined up as the buses are coming in, stadiums filled pretty early. That was all stuff I think. Some stuff that I had been used to, and I think that the coaches did a good job of like telling us what it was going to be like all week. So I don't think anybody was caught off guard or like went in there and it was something that they didn't expect.
When a game gets away the way that one did early, with it's a score and then a short field and a score and then a fumble that leads to a score and stuff like that, is it hard to kind of maintain the play-to-play intensity? It looks like you guys did. Y'all played a pretty good second half, but does it take some of the game had been built up all week, and then it kind of gets away early where realistically, hey, we're going to keep playing, but realistically this is going to be a tough sled in terms of winning a game. Is it hard to keep as focused and as energetic and stuff as you were at 0-0?
Yeah, I would say it just takes more of a concentrated effort. I think it's something that we are definitely capable of. It's a shame that we didn't do it the whole game. But like when that kind of starts to happen, no pun intended, but that tide kind of turns for a period. It's something that just takes a little bit more focus. Like you got to like really make a concerted effort to try to not let that motivation or like that like those tides kind of be too heavy of a swing. So it's like something that you have to address, because if left unaddressed or not focused on, like that's something that could definitely happen.
Lane Kiffin talked today about Alabama and Georgia, referring to them as the two best teams in the country. I know you haven't seen every team in the country, but you've played against some really good teams in your days in the Big Ten, and now you've played against Alabama. Where does that offense rank against maybe some of the teams that you faced previously in your college career?
I mean, they're really talented. They run the ball well. They have a way to get it out on the perimeter quickly. They have a way to take deep shots. They have good intermediary game. In terms of a ranking, I don't know. They're definitely up there. Very talented. It's kind of a shame because I would have liked to have seen us put a better foot forward defensively, and then maybe I would have had a different. I still would have had a ton of respect for what they do offensively, but maybe I would have had a little bit more context, because I think that we didn't really play the way that we wanted to. So it was kind of like tricky to gauge.
Chase Rogers was saying today that, there's a 24-hour rule. You either exalt or sulk for 24 hours, and then you have to move on. That's easy to say, right? It's easy to talk about, but how hard is it to let a game go with 24 hours later? I know there's another game rolling around. We're going to talk about Arkansas in a minute, and then the week after that it's Tennessee, and then it's LSU, and then it's Auburn. I get it, but you're human. How hard is it to take a game like Alabama, where I can tell you feel like, hey, we probably didn't put our best foot forward against the team. We didn't give ourselves maybe the best chance, and it got away. Is it difficult on Sunday at 6 o'clock to go, okay, it's been 24 hours, next?
Yeah. I mean, that's a good rule to subscribe by. It's hard to apply, and I'm not a great example of that. I have a pretty easy time letting the wins go. I have maybe even a shorter clock for the wins. Like that might be a 12-hour or just the rest of the day deal. But the losses they're hard. Our coaches do a good job of like, it's supposed to sting. But I like the way that we have it set up. So it's like, yeah, you're gonna take your licks. It's going to sting. And then there's a pretty clear divide, like when we kind of move on to the next week. And that's important too, because I mean, a loss can be a lesson, but it can also be like a downhill sled. So like, but it could be a great lesson. So, you know, you got to let it sting and try to cap it at 24. But if it's not 24 and it bleeds over a little bit, that's fine. But there needs to be a hard cap. So, yeah, Chase was definitely right on that.
All right, so we'll turn the page here. You have Arkansas, which is kind of in a similar boat to you guys. They'd gotten off to a great start. They go to Georgia to play, again, one of those really super elite teams, using your coach's terminology today, and they got popped 37-0 in Athens, a game that, much like yours, really, it just got away, and then it got away, and before you know it, it's 21-0, and you're in trouble at that point on the road against a team like that, and they were. Totally different offensive scheme than what you guys saw with Bryce Young. It's KJ Jefferson, who's a big, I mean, really big quarterback who likes to run the football. They have a stable of backs. They're pretty good up front. They throw it some, but for the most part, they're a physical, run-oriented team. As a defensive player, when you sort of know that's coming, and I know you got to prepare for the other stuff. You got to prepare for misdirections and all that. But when you pretty much know, hey, we're going to come at you and we're going to run right at you, is that – I don't know what the right word is, Chance. Is it kind of fun, or is it exciting, or is it just sort of a challenge when you know that the team's going to sort of test you in that regard?
Yeah, I think when you have I try to figure out a great way to put this, but like I think when you evaluate a team and you think you have a good beat on them, so like whatever their kind of MO is. So if you play a team that's an air raid team, and I think they can throw for 450, or you play a team that's going to hit you with crazy volume schematically, you're like, all right, we're going to match it. You play a team that does the same thing but does it out of a myriad of different looks, you're like, all right, we're going to figure it out. So like all those things are really cool, and I think that's similar to the way that you feel when you have a team that's going to run. They're like, all right, we're going to pin your ears down and run for 300 plus. Like it's cool when you understand what a team does, because then it's like a challenge, and it's like, all right, this is what we're doing this week. So when you have an understanding of that, that's kind of where I find the fun.
Do you think that they look at, and every team's different. Every team has their own identity. You guys obviously have an identity. Arkansas has one, but I mean, you watch film of what they did or didn't do against Georgia. They're going to watch film of what you guys did or didn't do against Alabama. It just stands to reason. When they see a back go for 171, you think that even leads to them saying, hey, we're really going to go after the running game? And conversely, where you guys this week have to spend a lot of time addressing what went wrong in the running game to fix that going into this week?
Yeah, surely. I think whenever what you put on tape is kind of your resume. That gets said a lot around the building. So what we put on tape last week is that we had some trouble doing that. And I think that when, you know, from the flip side, when you see that, you see an area of struggle that's kind of where you want to attack. And when that aligns with an area that they find to be a strength, seeing what they've done for these past 4 games or 5, then that's like, it marries up well. So I'm sure that we'll see that. And then I'm also sure we'll see some new stuff. Just kind of like every week you get what the game plan is going to be from what you've seen from other teams, and then you kind of add a little bit of extra stuff in there. So I'm sure we'll see that plus some stuff.
I told you when we started this, I'd never ask you about schematics, and this question's not a schematic question, but I saw a lot of Austin keys out there the other day where obviously you guys had to put more bodies in the box or closer to the line of scrimmage or whatever. And it looked like Austin made some plays. He's a guy that I've always, when I watched him in the spring, I'd kind of look at him and go, that guy looks like an SEC linebacker. I mean, you know, whether he one day plays like one, I don't know, but he sure looks like one. You're around him every day in practice and that kind of thing. Kind of just your thoughts on what kind of a player he's becoming.
Yeah, well, I absolutely think that he is an SEC linebacker, and I think he plays like it. I think he put really good stuff on tape. I think coaches are really excited about it. Players are, and I'm sure he is, because he had some really physical plays. I'm sure you've seen the one where he took that pulling guard on pretty well.
Yeah, blew him up. Yeah.
Yeah, he's fast, he's strong, and does a lot of things instinctually. And I talked to him recently about how much I think of him as a player and the things that he's capable of. So I think that's really cool to see that so young, because I think sometimes I mess this up. I'm pretty sure he's a redshirt freshman.
Yeah, with the whole COVID thing, man, I don't know who's what. I think it's his second year.
Yeah.
What the classification is, I don't know.
Yeah, we were just talking about birthdays. Lakia had a birthday this past weekend, so we were kind of going around figuring out how old guys are. I think he's 19. Um, and I wouldn't have guessed it because he physically does not look 19. So I'm really excited about the things they can do, and I'm sure he's going to use this as a springboard to go put some more great stuff on tape, which is great for him and great for our defense.
Another guy that plays a lot at your spot is Mark Robinson. Has a totally different story. Former running back, kind of earned a scholarship, that kind of thing. I know you guys haven't been teammates for long, but I've certainly gotten the impression that everyone on that team really respects him and his story and where he's come from. When you see him getting the snaps and playing as physically as he played, I'm guessing it makes you feel pretty good.
Yeah, no doubt. He's a bulldog. He'll strike whatever you ask him to strike. The the change that he's made from running back to linebacker, like I've never played running back, but I've played linebacker I played running back in high school, but never in college, so like not a real running back. Um, and there's a lot to playing linebacker. So the fact that he could go from never doing that to doing it um, at a high level, that's really impressive. And then I think what's probably more impressive is just the attitude that he has in the building. Just like you said, guys respect him. And that's really cool that like people can see that from the outside world because it's that clear in the building for us.
It's funny you mentioned that about never being a real running back. I know late in the week, sometimes you guys will, when every high school coach in the history of America says the hay's in the barn, right? I don't know if y'all heard that in Maryland, but that certainly is.
Yeah,
Yeah. The hay's in the barn. So you try to have a little fun. When the offense plays defense and the defense plays offense, what do you play?
We've done that a couple of times. The last time we did it was we were doing like one-on-one backs on backers. So we just did like just routes. So I guess it was technically a running back, but that's always a good reason. When we do that, it's a good showing as to why the guys play the position they do.
Yeah. All right. Last couple of things. You guys play Arkansas on Saturdays. We talked about the game kicks off at 11 a.m. Media love 11 a.m. games. Fans hate 11 a.m. games. What about players? I know that we talked at one point, like a couple of weeks ago, about when you guys played Tulane and the game didn't start until almost 9 o'clock at night and trying to keep yourself ready, but not too ready. When it's an 11 o'clock game, I mean, you're kind of up, and when you wake up, it is game day. I mean, it's time to go. As a player, do you like that? And what is the routine sort of like for an 11 a.m. game?
So I've never had an 11 a.m. I've had a boatload of 12 o'clock kicks.
Yeah.
At Maryland, so it's kind of a little bit what I'm more accustomed to. So I think because it's something that I'm a little more used to, it's something that I like a little bit better. I think I think about the game a lot. It's always on my mind. So to be able to wake up and get right into it, I've always preferred that. It's nice to have some time to sleep in a little bit, but I never really sleep in anyways. And it's nice to have time to like look at stuff. I try to look at more of that beginning of the week so I don't cloud my mind too much. So with an 11 a.m. kick, I'm glad to like get up, like shovel some food in, and then kind of get after it. So that's kind of like what I would prefer.
I know you didn't play in the game last year. It's obviously been a game that's gotten talked about a lot because of Matt Corral's struggles a year ago. In the building, is there any sense yet of, hey, this is a redemption game or a revenge game or that kind of thing? Or is it just another game that's next on the schedule that you have to approach?
No, yeah, I wasn't here for last year, so I don't know about. I mean, I've seen the tape. I've watched the tape from all the games. But I definitely don't get like a revenge vibe or anything like that. I mean, if anything, it's more just I think guys, including myself, are like excited to get the taste out of our mouth from last week because I wasn't happy with how I played at all, and I think a lot of guys probably weren't either. So whenever you have a situation like that, it's just nice to be able to get on to the next thing so you can like get that one from out under you. So I think if anything, it just guys are excited to play another game.
Chance, as always, it's great to visit with you. Look forward to doing it again next week after Arkansas as you guys start to turn the page this time next week to get ready for a trip to Tennessee. Good luck against the Hogs, and look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thank you. I appreciate it.